Hello, and welcome to Mythos and Musing. Today we have a very special story for you. It's a big two-part adventure that travels across outer space and deep into the land of gods and ideas. It's a tale about a brave explorer, a scary mystery in space, and the search for balance in the world. The story is called Cygnus X-1, and it's told in two books. The first is The Voyage, and the second is Hemispheres. Together they tell one complete epic tale. It's a story that might make you think about big ideas like the difference between thinking with your head and feeling with your heart. So let's get comfortable and begin our journey. First, we'll travel far into deep space. Then we will visit a magical land of gods, see how a lost hero can change everything. And finally, we'll take a quick look at the creative minds behind this amazing story. Our story begins with Book 1, The Voyage. This part of the story is about great ambition and the dangers of exploring the unknown. We meet our hero, an unnamed explorer. He is a brave man who represents the part of all of us that is curious and wants to see new things. He isn't just looking at the stars, he wants to travel to them. He has heard legends of a strange and dangerous mystery hiding in a dark corner of space, a place called Cygnus X-1. The explorer has a wonderful ship named the Rocinante. This name is a clue. Rocinante was the horse of a famous storybook character named Don Quixote, who was very brave but also a bit of a dreamer who sometimes didn't see the world clearly. This makes us wonder, is our explorer a great hero? Or is he a dreamer chasing something that might be too dangerous? The explorer is not afraid. He points his ship directly at Cygnus. He knows that other, stronger ships have traveled there and never returned. They were simply swallowed by the great darkness. Cygnus X-1 is a black hole, a place where the rules of the universe don't seem to work and where light itself disappears, but the explorer feels he must go. He's drawn to the mystery, hoping to find answers to questions deep in his heart. The journey begins. At first, it is a thrilling adventure. The explorer is alone in his ship, surrounded by the silent, beautiful emptiness of space. The stars are like diamonds, and colorful clouds of stardust called nebulae float by. The story creates a feeling of calm and wonder before the danger begins. But as the Rocinante gets closer to Cygnus X-1, things start to go wrong. Strange forces pull at the ship. The explorer feels it in his bones. The ship's navigation tools, which tell him where to go, start to flicker and show confusing information. The pull of the black hole gets stronger and stronger. It is no longer a distant object, but a very real and overwhelming danger. The space around the ship itself seems to bend and twist. The warnings he heard before now seem very real. Alarms begin to ring on his ship. He is entering a place of sights and sounds no one has ever known. A place so strange, it's hard for the mind to understand. The ship groans and shudders, struggling against the immense power. The explorer, just one man against the whole universe, does his best to keep control. He keeps flying forward, or maybe now he is being pulled forward, caught in a powerful current he cannot escape. He wonders what will happen to him. Will he be destroyed, or will he find something new? He reaches the edge of the black hole, the point of no return. Then, Cygnus X-1 takes hold. What happens next is like a scene from a scary movie. The ship is spinning, whirling, still descending. The Rocinante, once a proud ship, is now just a tiny toy being pulled down into a spiral of complete darkness. There's a feeling of being totally helpless. The explorer realizes how small he is and how big the universe is. He is about to be erased. His senses are overwhelmed by a great sound and fury. The sky outside his window is torn into strange, impossible shapes. The story says every nerve is torn apart, and in his final moments of fear and pain, the explorer cries out that he has lost the will to live. He is being pulled apart piece by piece as his ship breaks up around him. Finally, the climax comes. He is completely overcome by the horror of it all. It seems to be a very final, terrifying end, but the story doesn't stop there. In an amazing cliffhanger, we are told he is spinning, orbiting endlessly. A long pain scream fades into nothing. Then there is silence until a single unexpected sound is heard, a soft heartbeat. It gets quieter and quieter and then fades away, leaving us wondering, what just happened? Is the explorer gone forever, or did he somehow survive? Is he trapped? Did he go through the black hole? We don't know, but the heartbeat gives us a small clue, a little bit of hope. It tells us that something somehow continues, and that is how Book 1 ends, making us eager to find out what happens in Book 2. Now, after that intense journey, the story continues. The second part, Hemispheres, takes us to a completely different place, a land of myth and gods where a different kind of struggle is happening. We find ourselves in an ancient, magical land. Here, powerful beings who are like gods live on a mountain called Olympus. This isn't a normal mountain. It's a place where big ideas are as real as rocks and trees. The people of this land first lived in a world created by a god named Apollo. He was the god of reason, truth, and right. With his logical guidance, the people built amazing cities with tall, shining towers and perfectly straight roads. They learned about science and created a very ordered and efficient world. For a long time, their society was a great success, full of knowledge and progress. But over time, something began to feel wrong. A coldness and emptiness started to creep into their perfect world. The streets, once busy with purpose, became too quiet. People felt a yearning for something they were missing, but they didn't know what it was. The joy in their accomplishments started to fade. Then a new god came to the land, Dionysus. He was the god of love and wine and song. He was the complete opposite of Apollo. He was wild, and he brought with him powerful feelings, joy, art, and passion. He showed the people a different way to live, a life of loving hearts unbound, full of music and happiness, and the people loved it. They were captivated by this new freedom. They left their neat, orderly cities and ran to the forest to be with Dionysus. They danced and sang, and their hearts felt fuller and more alive than ever before. It seemed like a perfect paradise where everyone was happy and had everything they needed. But this world had different seasons, and when the cold, harsh winter arrived, the people were not ready. In their summer of fun with Dionysus, they had forgotten to plan ahead and store food, something Apollo's way had taught them. Their happy songs turned into sad cries. They had nothing to eat. Wolves came from the forest, and the people were hungry and scared. And this was their great tragedy. Living only by Apollo's rules made them feel empty, but living only by Dionysus's rules left them unprepared and in danger. They were trapped between two extremes. Their world and their very souls felt torn in two. They saw that neither god on his own had the right answer. Their land became a battleground between those who followed the mind and those who followed the heart. The people were lost and afraid. So, what happened to our explorer, whose journey ended with a mysterious heartbeat? That heartbeat was a sign. He was not completely gone. Instead, his spirit was summoned by the fates and traveled through new and awesome gates, arriving in this very same land of warring gods. He is very confused. He is now a spirit, a ghost floating in a world he doesn't understand. His body is gone, destroyed by the black hole. Now, he is just his consciousness, his thoughts and feelings, and he watches the turmoil of this world in confusion. The rules of life as he knew them are gone. He has been through an incredible trial in Cygnus X-1, a journey that both destroyed him and remade him. The black hole stripped away everything he was, leaving only his pure essence, something that had seen a place where opposites like good and bad or up and down don't exist. For a time, he is just a silent witness, a stranger in a strange land. But his presence is felt. The suffering people and maybe even the gods themselves sense this new, strange energy, and in their great sadness and desperation, a new hope begins to grow. The people cry out, "Behold, the Cygnus, the god of balance you shall be." They don't see another warrior or another king. They see something new, a symbol of a way to end their suffering. This is a very important moment. The explorer's journey wasn't just about survival, it was a deep spiritual transformation. He didn't come to take sides with Apollo or Dionysus. He came as someone who now understood deep down that both thinking and feeling are needed to live a full life. His spirit now represents a third way, a way of balance. His presence alone begins to cause a great change. The people look at him and see their own hopes. They see living proof that the war inside their hearts and in their world can finally end. From their tired hearts, a new idea comes forth. The gods were blind. Men were better by their loving natures. This means they realize that people who can both think and feel have the potential to be more whole and balanced than the gods who only represent one extreme. Their ability to hold both logic and love inside them is not a weakness, but their greatest strength. And so Cygnus, the god of balance, as the explorer is now called, takes on his new role. He is not a king who gives orders. He is a living symbol of harmony and integration. He is the bridge between the heart and the mind. His very existence proves that a balanced life is not just possible, but necessary for peace. This new understanding spreads to the gods themselves. Apollo and Dionysus see the sadness their long fight has caused. They realize that neither of their ways is perfect on its own. Pure logic is an empty fortress. Pure passion is a fire that burns itself out. True happiness can only be found when these two forces work together. The final part of the story brings this resolution to life. The people learn a new truth. We can walk our road together if our goals are all the same. We can run alone and free if we pursue a different aim. It is a vision that celebrates both community and the freedom of the individual. It speaks of letting the truth of love be lighted, which means letting wisdom guide our feelings, and letting the love of truth shine clear, which means making sure our thoughts are always guided by kindness. The ultimate goal is to have the heart and mind united in a single perfect sphere. And that is the grand message of the story. It is about the beautiful marriage of opposites. It's about bringing together the heart with all its love and passion, and the mind with all its reason and science. They are not enemies, but partners in a wonderful dance. With the arrival of Cygnus, a new age of harmony begins. The two divided hemispheres of their world are finally joined. Apollo and Dionysus are still there, as thinking and feeling are still important parts of life, but their fight is over. Their powers now work together, each making the other better. People are no longer torn. They can be whole beings using both their smart minds and their loving hearts. This is a very hopeful message. The story tells us that the best way to live for people and for the world is not to choose one extreme, but to find a beautiful, ever-changing balance between all of our abilities. Our explorer, by surviving his terrible journey, became the symbol of this perfect balance. He traveled to the edge of nothingness and came back with a blueprint for a better, more whole way of living. Now, before we finish, it's neat to know a little bit about who created this amazing story. It was written by the Canadian rock band Rush. The words were written by their drummer, a man named Neil Peart, who was a great reader and thinker. He was inspired by many things: science fiction stories, ancient myths, and books about big ideas. The story of Apollo and Dionysus, for example, is a very old idea from Greek mythology about the struggle between the logical and emotional parts of people. And the black hole, Cygnus X-1, is a real object in space that astronomers were just learning about when this story was written, making it a perfect real-life mystery to build a story around. The themes in this saga are very deep. At its heart, it's a story about what it means to be human. Book 1 is about our powerful need to explore and push boundaries even when it's dangerous, and it makes us wonder if that is brave or foolish. Book 2 is a story about the two sides of our nature, the thinking side and the feeling side. It argues that we need both to be happy and complete. This brings us to the biggest theme of all, the search for balance. The whole story ends when a way is found to bring the heart and mind together. Cygnus, the transformed explorer, becomes the living symbol of this balance, and another key idea is transformation through hardship. The explorer's terrifying journey isn't just a bad thing, it's what changes him and makes him able to bring peace. Finally, the story is a warning against taking any idea to an extreme. The sadness in the land of Hemispheres was caused because everyone chose only one way to live. The story celebrates a more flexible, open-minded, and compassionate way of life. It's a philosophical journey that encourages us to look at our own lives and find a little more balance. And there you have it, the wild, mind-expanding, and ultimately hopeful story of Cygnus X-1. From a scary trip into a black hole, to a battle of gods, to the inspiring arrival of a hero of balance. What a journey. It's a story that travels through outer space and deep into our own hearts and minds. It's more than just a clever concept. It's a deep thought about human nature, our desire for knowledge, the problems of extremism, and our need for balance in our lives. It's a story that blends science fiction, mythology, and philosophy into something truly special. This kind of story really stays with you. It makes you think and it makes you feel. It might just make you look at the stars and maybe even yourself a little differently tonight. So what do you think? What were your favorite parts of the story? Did you like the scary space voyage or the philosophical tale of the gods more? I'd love to hear all your thoughts in the comments below. Great stories like this are meant to be talked about. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive, please give this video a like. It really helps the channel out and lets me know you want to see more stories like this. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to Mythos and Musing and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Thanks again for hanging out and exploring this story with me. Until our next deep dive, stay curious, think big, and as always, stay thoughtful.